You don't have to dice it up too fine. You could just chop it up into thick pieces, which, you know, I did pretty good with this. And we saved our drippings. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to turn our heat on for our pot to like medium, low to medium. And if you're using a crock pot, you want to put it on medium or high heat, okay? So we're going to pour our drippings into the pan. Yeah, include the little burnt pieces as well because it kind of gives it a smoky flavor. Okay. We're just going to throw everything in there. Okay. Okay. Now we've already taken our spices. That's our 1 teaspoon of pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of sugar. I went ahead and mixed that up together in a bowl. But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put our onions in. That's our pre-chopped onions that we did from before. Put that in there. Kind of hard to do with the phone, but coming out pretty good. Kind of scatter that around the bottom of the pot. Because see, this is all going to cook together, so we don't have to worry about sauteing the onions or anything because these onions were already cut and they were frozen. So that means the onions were already wilted. But if they're fresh onions, you might want to saute them in the grease for just a little bit, but not too long because all of this is going to cook down anyway, okay? Now the potatoes and the onions are already firm, so they can all cook together. Now understand when you're cooking vegetables, sometimes when you do stews or you know anything like that, sometimes you might have soft vegetables and you might have hard vegetables. A rule of thumb is always to cook the hard vegetables first and then add the soft vegetables later. So that way we won't have to worry about anything being mushy. Okay? And of course we've got our beans here. Okay? So we want to go ahead and we want to go ahead and add our beans. And every time we add something, we give a good stir. I was able to pull up those screens for you so I can show you while this is cooking the Inbox Dollar site and the PayPal page where I got paid. So I'm going to show this to you guys shortly. Okay. I'm going to have you look at this bacon for just a second. Sorry about that. It looks like we kind of had a bit of a fall. Sorry about that. I'm trying to stir this and handle the camera at the same time, so I apologize. You got a major close-up of the bacon that I chopped up, so I apologize for that. But I got to give these green beans a good stir right now. And I got to throw these spices into the pot real quick. And I'm trying to do this one-handed because the tripod that I had was a cheap one and it broke on me. So, okay, now we're back. I'm going to zoom out. Okay, you've had your overload of bacon. Okay, so we're not going to do that anymore. Okay, so we stirred this up pretty good. I'm going to add our potatoes. Okay, that's that. Stir that up pretty good. Okay, we're going to add our vinegar. Okay. Going to throw our spices in. There we go. Spices added in. Stir that up again. We're always stirring. Every time we add something, we're stirring and we're stirring and we're stirring because these spices and all the flavors are just going to try to get together and they're going to have a party. Okay, and then we're going to add our water. And really, a lot of this is going to make its own juice. And of course, we're going to add our either barbecue or Worcestershire. I heard some people put teriyaki in it. I never tried that before. And teriyaki or Worcestershire or the barbecue. I like to do the barbecue because the barbecue kind of gives it a little bit of a smoky flavor, a hickory flavor, even though the bacon does that by itself. But it kind of just gives it an extra zip. Okay, so I'm going to stir that up again. Now, if you want your bacon to stay crispy, don't add it right away. Just let this cook for maybe a half hour or 45 minutes and then add the bacon. But if you don't mind adding the bacon and if you don't want it to be crispy, then you can put the bacon in the beginning. Me, I don't care. So I'm just going to go ahead and add the bacon now. That's totally up to you. There's a lot of flexibility with this dish. Now look at all that color. Isn't that pretty? Now when it cooks down, of course, the beans are going to be a little less green. They're going to be a little bit paler in color. But still, you're going to have a lot of color with this dish, and it's going to be very tasty. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn this up to medium. And cover it up, of course. And then we're going to go ahead and set a timer of it. If you have like a little hand timer, that's fine. What I like to do is in 30-minute intervals, give it a good stir. And just make sure that everything is cooking evenly. And I would say 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what type of stove you have. Just check it every 30 minutes until the beans and the potatoes are tender. And a good way to check to see if your beans and potatoes are tender is to just prick it with a fork or a knife and just to see if it just goes all the way through tenderly. Okay? So we're going to go ahead and set the timer for 30 minutes and come back and check it and do that. And I will be back to you guys in a few minutes with that information in regards to inbox dollars, and we'll talk about that, okay?